So let's begin a new chapter, chapter of solution, class 12 chemistry. A solution is a homogeneous mixture of two or more components. You all know about solutions. Mostly in a solution we'll have a solute and a solvent. So let us start with a solvent, a liquid. I've taken a pure liquid here, and not just a pure liquid but a volatile liquid. You know that volatile liquids evaporates almost all the time and it forms vapor. So I want you to learn the very process of formation of vapor, the mechanism of vaporization. Inside a liquid, you know, molecules are never at rest. They are moving in all possible direction with all possible velocity randomly here and there. So these are the molecules of a liquid which is moving inside its bulk in all possible directions in chaotic manner. Some of the molecules are moving fast, some are moving slow, so they have different velocity in different direction. Here I have a diagram which is known as Maxwell's molecular velocity distribution diagram, which explains how velocity is distributed among molecules because they don't have same velocity for all of them. So I've taken velocity in x-axis and percentage of molecule in y-axis. So this is the reason of low velocity, and the percentage of molecule moving with the low velocity is less, only this much. And this is the reason of high velocity towards right hand side, where the percentage of molecule again is less. So that means very few molecule move sluggishly, slowly, and very few molecule moves with a tremendously high velocity. Most of the molecules, a large percentage of molecules, they move with medium velocity, neither high nor low. So if molecules of a liquid are moving randomly, naturally they collide with one another, and sometimes they go and hit a molecule on the surface. Even on the surface of this liquid, which is exposed to air above it, there are liquid molecules. So if a molecule from a bulk goes and strikes a surface molecule, because of the impact it will be knocked off. But if this molecule, which is causing an impact on the surface molecule, if it's not moving with a high velocity, if the impact is not strong enough, then the molecule will be pushed a little bit upward, but because of the intermolecular force of attraction, again it will be drawn back, so it will fail to evaporate, it will fail to isolate. Whereas if a surface molecule is hit by a fast moving molecule, then the impact will be so huge that it will be completely taken far from the intermolecular force of attraction, it will be separated from rest of the liquid molecule, and this is how it forms gas or vapor. This is the mechanism of vaporization. In order to vaporize, these surface molecules must be hit hard by molecules moving in the bulk. So at low temperature, very few molecules can cause vaporization because very few molecules are such which moves with high velocity and can knock off surface molecule. As the temperature rises, you know what happens, this region becomes broad. So let me draw this diagram for a higher temperature. So what happens at higher temperature is that this diagram shifts towards right because every molecule will see an enhancement in the molecular velocity because of increase in temperature. So the diagram, Maxwell's diagram, shifts towards right hand side, and not just that, this region of high velocity becomes broad. That means large number of molecules at high temperature acquires higher velocity, and because of that many of them can go and hit the surface molecule so hard that it can cause evaporation. In that way the rate of evaporation, the extent of evaporation increases with the rise in temperature. Liquids evaporate more at high temperature. Now above the surface of this liquid, you not only have liquid vapor here, but you've got other components of air, like you've got nitrogen there, you've got oxygen there. So basically just above the surface of this liquid there's a mixture of different gases like oxygen, nitrogen, various other components of air along with the vapor state of this liquid. So there is a mixture here. So I've taken a mixture here, you see, of three gases A, B and C. They are inside this container. You know, gases exert their own pressure depending on how much of gas is present. So this gas A in this mixture exerts its own pressure. Similarly, depending on the amount, B also exerts its own pressure, C also exerts its own pressure. In a mixture of gases, what do you call the pressure exerted by only one component? You must be familiar. It is known as partial pressure of that particular component gas. For example, pressure exerted by only A alone is known as partial pressure of A, and pressure exerted by B is called partial pressure of B, and pressure exerted by C is known as partial pressure of C. If you want to get the total pressure of this mixture of gases, then you've got to add the partial pressures of all the components, add the partial pressures of A, B and C, that gives you the total pressure. So in the same manner, there are so many gases above the surface of this liquid, they exert their own pressure, and along with that there is this vapor state of this liquid. You've got vapor also, and that vapor also exerts its own pressure depending on how much of vapor is present there, and that pressure exerted by the vapor state of this liquid is known as, which is the partial pressure of the vapor here, because it's the pressure exerted only by the vapor, not by other gases. That partial pressure of the vapor of the liquid just above its surface is known as vapor pressure of a liquid. Okay, so what is vapor pressure of a liquid? Just above the surface of a liquid, you've got some amount of vapor of the liquid, and whatever pressure that vapor alone exerts, that partial pressure of the vapor is known as vapor pressure of this liquid. I'm very sorry for the noise because I'm using fan, so noise is inevitable. I can't stop it. Without fan I tried. It's so humid here. So let's continue with the chapter of solution. Vapor pressure of a liquid. We're talking about vapor pressure. Vapor pressure of a liquid is nothing but the partial pressure of the liquid just above the surface here. When liquid evaporates, it forms some vapor, and that vapor exerts pressure. That pressure exerted by vapor alone is called vapor pressure of the liquid. Now, vapor pressure of every liquid under all conditions is not same. Vapor pressure keeps on changing. So there are many factors which controls the vapor pressure of a liquid. The first factor is the nature of the liquid. Here when we talk about nature of the liquid, actually we are talking about the intermolecular force of attraction that is present in the liquid, because some liquids are such that their molecules, that means liquid molecules, they don't tend to attract each other much. So there's a liquid here, liquid A, which has low intermolecular force of attraction, whereas some liquids are such that their molecules attract each other very strong. Let's say liquid B, which has strong intermolecular force of attraction. Now if you have a liquid with a very feeble intermolecular force of attraction, weak intermolecular force of attraction, then these surface molecules, because they don't attract each other much, even if it's struck by a slow moving molecule, can evaporate, because molecules on the surface cannot pull it back because they don't attract each other with a strong force, so it's more volatile in that sense. Whereas in case of a liquid which attracts its molecule very hard, it's very difficult for a molecule to evaporate, because even if it's struck by a fast moving molecule and if it is pushed quite a lot of distance above the surface, still the intermolecular force of attraction bring it back, and because of that it finds very difficult to evaporate. So the evaporation is less here, that's why it's less volatile liquid. So how much vapor a liquid forms, how much volatile it is, it also depends on how the molecules of liquid interact, whether they attract strong or whether they attract less. For example, we know about a liquid which is very less volatile called glycerine. It's less volatile because of very strong intermolecular force of attraction between the glycerine molecules. So that's the first factor. The second factor that determines the amount of vapor formed by a liquid or its vapor pressure is the temperature at which the liquid is kept. At low temperature, very few molecules are such that they can go, very few molecules are such that they can go and strike the surface molecule hard enough to evaporate. So less evaporation takes place. As the temperature rises, more and more a molecule acquires that required velocity to cause evaporation, and that's why more percentage of molecules can evaporate, and that way vapor pressure or amount of vapor keeps on increasing with the rise in temperature. So remember, vapor pressure or vapor formed by the liquid, the amount of vapor formed by the liquid increases on increasing temperature because of increasing intermolecular increasing molecular velocity. So these are two factors. The last factor that determines how much vapor is formed by liquid is the presence of impurities. Till now we've been talking about pure liquid without any contaminants or any impurity. See, when we talk about impurity in this chapter, mostly we're talking about a solute dissolved in a solvent, So what happens is when you add solute to prepare a solution, that solute acts as an impurity for the solvent. So when we talk about impure liquid, actually we're talking about a solution where solute acts as impurity. So let me take a liquid here which is pure and it has no other molecule than its own. So there are no other molecules except the molecules of the liquid itself, even on the surface. So let's say there are in a pure state there are 100 molecules on the surface. So there is a chance that these 100 molecules can evaporate and form some vapor. But if you add impurities, what happens? Like if you are preparing a solution, so you added some solute, then solute goes and gets dispersed all over the liquid. It disperses itself in the bulk of the liquid, it goes to every corner, and it also occupies, now the molecules of solute or impurity also tends to occupy the surface. So that lowers the solvent molecules now, like there will be now less number of solvent molecules on the surface because some of the sites are occupied by the solute particles or by impurity. So now let's say you don't have 100 molecules to evaporate, you have maybe 80 molecules. So when you have less number of molecules to evaporate, it naturally forms less vapor. So what happens to a liquid when you add impurities or when you convert that liquid into a solution? Its vapor pressure goes down because now there is less chance for this liquid to form vapor, as it is its number of molecules on the surface has reduced. Because of that, vapor pressure of a liquid in its solution goes down. That effect is called lowering of vapor pressure. Okay, so there are three factors basically which controls the vapor pressure of a liquid. One is the nature of the liquid, then second is temperature, and the last one is presence of impurities, which lowers the vapor pressure of a liquid, and that phenomena is called lowering of vapor pressure.